podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com. Original.
Yikes! And away!
Basic.
Yikes! And away!
First edition.
Yikes! And away!
And then...
I says, Pigpen, this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put the hammer down.
Welcome to THACO, the best damn AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever.
About the hero quest.
They're
like 6x10 or 10x10, 10x10 corners, 20x10 quarter pieces.
I saw
flat cardboard with puzzle ends.
I saw them. I never had a set, but I used to have Advanced Hero Quest, which came with a whole lot of nice miniatures. I liked that. Yeah, I mean, I use those all the time. It was great. Don't know what happened to the set, but what the hey. Hi, folks. THACO's Hammer number 47. Splatbook 47. Can you believe it? Wow. And I'm here. I'm DM Glen, and I got DM Brian here sitting next to me.
Good evening, folks. How's it going out there?
And we got Full On Gamer. DM Full On Gamer. How you doing?
Greetings, Gamer Nation. Full On Gamer in the house.
Hoo-ha. No Corey this week, but we're going to give you a whole bunch of fun anyway. How about that? And so can we just waltz into hits and crits?
You sure can.
Okay.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque Louis Paradise. Miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits. Hits and crits. Gaming this week. What's up, guys?
Okay, well, I haven't been doing too much because I'm in the throes of an addiction to an online game. I've warned people for years, no, I don't want to play WoW, no, I don't want to play EverQuest, and I've been strongly resisting the temptation to do Tor, but,
Come back.
To the dark side.
Endor, we will take you.
So, who's the guilty party leading you into this?
Oh, it's me letting my inner 8-year-old out. I'm playing this game called Need for Speed World. It's a racing game. It's basically Hot Wheels for the next generation.
Yay.
So yeah, I get to play with my cars, and my inner 8-year-old's like, yeah, drive faster, yeah, run that cop off the road, yeah.
Let's just go down and get one of the Grand Theft Auto games and say to hell with it.
Oh my God, no. I'd never show up for work again. I know myself.
Need for Speed World is that awesome thing that's like, it's the open world. It's actually routes all across America. Instead of restricting yourself to one city, you've got everywhere to go in competition mode with everyone else out there. So, yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah,
I'll stick with the LARP version of it, but okay, you go. You got yours.
You got yours, I got mine. It's all good.
What you been doing, Full On?
Well, I've been preparing for the Gen Con journey happening this weekend. First leg starts out, and going to go rock out with the D20 Radio folks and the launch party for Gamer Nation Studios Edition Wars.
Very nice.
Other than that, my D&D-ness was filled with being on SOD last night.
Yes, thank you. You pinched hit for Crispy, who was under the weather. And you did a...
D20 is a D20 is a D20 as long as it doesn't have a 4 in front of it. Oh, I'm good with it.
Okay. Got to hear the tale of your Blood Mountain campaign again. I always like to hear about that.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Oh, yeah. Me, I haven't really done anything. I do the Saturday game. Brought Gage last time. He killed a couple of bone golems by him. He did the coup de grace on them, so he was happy with that. Had some undead to take care of. We got to lay this ghost to rest. Oh, boy. In the old Fighters Academy in Thunder Rift. You know where that is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's in Melanir, isn't it?
Outside of Melanir. It's bordering the Gloom Fens.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I forget which module that is. But yeah, that's what we're going through right now. And like I said, two bone golems, a bunch of a bunch of undead. We ran into some ghouls and, the usual stuff. I think we actually had to fight you'll love this. There was like 6, we walked in this room and there was I think it was 4 gnolls and a gnoll captain. 5 gnolls and a gnoll's captain. And we'd already got beat the crap out of, in earlier encounters. So we were down to half. And it's what do you do? Simple. I step forward. I got initiative. What are you? Step forward. Web.
Good idea.
Throw a torch in there. Close the door. That's what they did. They threw a torch in there and closed the door.
Yep. That's one of those tried and true. We're tired. We're beat up kind of tactics.
Oh, get this. My
Dungeoneering efficiency 101.
My grandson. My grandson, one guy got bit by a giant black widow, and it had the poison was the Otto's Irresistible Dance variety.
Ooh.
And fortunately, we all made our save, but he was dancing for an hour, and my grandson got tired of it. He's playing a cleric. He said, I bop him on the head and knock him out, and he rolled a 20. Just went, boom. Unfortunately, 5 minutes later, he got up and started dancing again. He said, did you think to tie him up? No. Well, next time, tie him up.
Well,
you do have to watch out for those games where you have players helping players by helping them to lie down with their eyes closed.
Yeah.
On occasion, that has gone horribly, horribly wrong, especially in certain campaigns where the DMs have been using the good hits, bad misses table.
Then there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I'm just going to gently knock him out with a spoon. 3 crits.
3 crits.
Full damage.
Crushed skull.
What?
The hilt of my sword, please. It's a blunt weapon. Boom. You killed him. What?
You hit him in the wrong spot.
Oh, God. I hate when that happens. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. We got emails?
Oh, yeah, we've got emails.
Emails, of course. Folks, I know we're going to get to an email show soon, so,
Yeah, we just need to let the
might be the next episode. Who knows?
Yeah, just might at this rate. Well, that all depends on when Good Mike gets back, right?
Maybe. I mean, we can do emails,
Okay, well...
We don't need Mike for emails.
All right, well, we'll talk about that after.
What, we got a voicemail first?
Yes, actually we do. This is from GM Kyle, who's in Hawaii of all places. So if you give me just a moment, I will get this all set up.
Hi, Thaco's Hammer. This is DM Cal coming to you from wonderful Hawaii. Yes, that's true. Thaco's Hammer is now being heard in Hawaii. You're welcome. Oh, and come and visit if you ever want to. Listen, I was just hearing your opening part of episode 43 and your trifecta rant about partly the why balance might be a dirty word. Something that I learned in my games from my DM Jim, and I've carried on in my own work, is we didn't try and necessarily balance monsters so much. We had encounter experience, which is if you ran across, say, as one random encounter had 2 members of my party group happen where they crested over a hill and they saw about an army of 10,000 orcs marching along their way towards a village. They went, we're getting out of there. However, they did get some encounter experience for being smart enough to get out of there. And so just adding that in sometimes I think can address that, quote, balance issue, because it becomes then, you can be a first-level fighter and walk around and suddenly come across something like a dragon hatchling that's going to probably kill you unless you realize that you need to get out of there, and you should have learned something and get some reward for it. So, yeah, this is a little rambling. It's also midnight here and 6 a.m. on the Eastern time zone, so sorry for that. Anyway, keep bringing the hammer down and keep pumping them out. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kyle. That was a good one. I'd love to come visit you from Hawaii. Oh boy. I call those runaway points.
Yeah. Yeah, where you bravely run away because, no one's stupid enough to take on an army of 10,000 orcs.
And
it's one of the good 3E-isms that they came out with was the encounter, XP, encounter level, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, you're not going to make XP on all 10,000 orcs. You're going to have an adequate amount of you made a right decision, bonus XP for doing the right thing. You might even get more if you took the time to hide, gather some intel, and then race ahead of the army to warn the village. That would be outstanding XP for the encounter, if you're able to pull it off. That's what it's there for. Yeah. It's about surviving the encounter, not killing critters and taking their stuff. Hey.
Right. I mean, if anything, you can give experience for a lot of things, but this is one piece of experience you actually learned from.
Mm-hmm.
You don't learn from getting gold, for the most part. You may learn from killing a monster, but you will definitely learn to, if discretion is the better part of valor type of thing. Pick your fights. You learn to pick your fights.
Yeah. You try really hard to figure out if it's a fight you can win. If not, then you go to diplomacy or even just out and out turning tail and running the other way.
Right.
But the whole thing is that, encounter balance is a dirty word because it implies that the DM is always on the lookout to make sure that everything the party encounters gives them a chance to win. No. It's one of those where you have to figure out what your party can take, what your party cannot fight and win. An encounter that will bloody their nose is really good.
Well, and more importantly, what your story needs.
Yes.
Yeah, that too.
Here's my take on balance. I think the DM should give the best effort he can and make the utmost effort to balance the encounters in a story. If that goes south in the story, oh well, you did your best. Yeah. And if they pull stupid moves or bring in a character that you didn't expect or something else happens,
or even the dice gods are laughing at the players that night,
or laughing at the DM, either way.
Yeah, that too.
You can balance. It's like Sun Tzu said, no bout of prep in a battle survives the battle.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. And full on, you being
the best battles are the ones you do not have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
True.
The military tactics.
I'll Sun Tzu right back at you, yo.
Thank you.
Fear is the ultimate enemy. But anyway, but the whole thing is that I remember in a previous episode where this kind of thing got brought up, and it's sort of like, look, most of the time, if they're out in the wild, wandering around or heading somewhere, sure, when it comes to random encounters, let the dice fly and let the players deal with it. Let them understand that they can't fight everything. That there are some things that you need to take cover from or run away from. Because it's like we've always said, it's dangerous out there. That's why 99.9 and about 999, 7 or 8 nines down the line of people do not adventure because they know. They know that there are orcs in them dar hills. They know that there's a dragon in that forest over there. And that's why they keep their heads down and they think that adventurers are basically crazy.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's why DMs roll behind a screen.
Exactly.
Well, I have a theory about that. There's a lot of people who say the other theory. Everything should be on the other. Excuse me. Does God give you odds every time you go do something dangerous?
Hell no.
Do you? I mean, you can take an educated guess and figure things out. Remember the guy who just recently walked across Niagara Falls?
Uh-huh.
He planned that for years.
Well, go ahead.
But adventurers are big damn heroes. They can just shoot an arrow across the gorge and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, but the point is, a guy who's spent years trying to balance the odds in his favor still has odds he has to overcome.
This is true. Well, the only problem is the odds were really in his favor because he had a safety line attached to him.
True, and I understand he didn't want it, but they made him do it. So
because the network televising it didn't want to get sued.
Right. So, but anyway, you get the point. I mean, life does not give you odds. God doesn't. This giant hand from the clouds does not come down and roll dice in front of you. Every time you try to make a left turn.
I think we've digressed into something not in his voicemail, however. That's a good subject for discussion at another time, in front or behind the screen.
Yeah,
I
wanted to work that in because that's the kind of guy I am. Anyway, we got another email.
Yeah, we have one. A new person to our show. His name is Rob Markowski.
Hi, Rob.
Take this one.
Go ahead.
I'll take this one.
Go ahead.
You will? Oh,
yes.
Yeah, you read it. Okay, Go ahead.
Here's from Rob Markowski. Hi, guys. Longtime player of 2E, but have been a hiatus for the last year or so to DM a 3.5 conversion of Night Below. Sacrilege, I know, but I've already run it in 2E once, and all the players in the current rendition already knew 3.5 and had the books, so it was the easiest route.
You want to go through extra work,
and
go ahead.
Subscribe to your success. Excellent, and I hope that you had an excellent time, because I did. Long story short, 3 of the Night Below players want to learn 2E, and I'll be handling the DMing. I want to set the campaign in the Forgotten Realms, and was looking into a good module for both the realms and the basics of 2E. I was thinking of perhaps running them through the Sword of the Dales trilogy. Do any of you have any experience with these modules? If they suck, do you have any recommendations that would fit the aforementioned bill? Well, actually, you can fit Night Below in the Forgotten Realms perfectly easily. More on that in a moment.
Yes.
I just got into your show a couple of weeks ago and haven't made it into the early episodes so I'm not sure if you've already covered this. If you have, I'll save you the trouble of repeating yourselves and listen to the episode myself. Just point me in the right direction. Well, if you'd like to see how Night Below can be handled in the Forgotten Realms, take a look at episodes 43, 44, and 45 of THACO's Hammer, where we go into it in detail and open it out for all the other worlds that you can use it in as well.
Yeah. I'll shut up now.
The Sword of the Dales, on the other hand...
Well, Sword of the Dales, I'll take point on this one because I've never actually run them, but I've read them pretty much because I thought when I first saw these modules back in the middle to late 90s, I want to say Sword of the Dales I think was 96, maybe even 97. Mm-hmm. But when I saw it, I was like, okay, let's see what this is like because they didn't put out very many modules for low-level parties. They put out maybe like 3 or 4 leading up to it. And then I found out it was part of a trilogy, as I'm standing in front of my bookcase to pull out the first adventure. The first module was really cool, and it was a really good introduction into Forgotten Realms. And don't try looking for Elminster because Elminster is busy doing other things, and that's the way it always should be. But I digress. But this adventure basically just gives you a good introduction into the workings of the Forgotten Realms and actually gives the players the atmosphere, high adventure, high magic, and just goes from there. I mean, the only adventure I can think of that's in my bookcase that I'm looking at right now is, of course, the tried and true and sometimes maligned, sometimes lauded Haunted Halls of Eveningstar.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. So, and there it is right there for levels 1 to 5. And you can go even further than that if you want to. But,
and of course,
go ahead.
This is all giving you different regions of the realms to start your adventuring party's career off in.
That's right.
If you're going to do the Dales, you're dealing with, okay, I've got the Dales, and I've got maybe some Cormyr, and I've got some, I can easily get them up into the desert, or I can head down into the inner sea. Or if you're doing the Evenstar, okay, I've got the coast, I've got the north, I've got the south, we can do some Waterdeep, whatever. And again, for the realms, it really is something that first you got to find the piece of the setting you want to play with to start, whether it's city setting and you want to lead them off. And you can start a first level campaign. You can do a 20 level campaign from level 1 in Waterdeep and never leave the walls.
Yeah, never leave. Yeah, Waterdeep is like that.
You've got the north, you got the south, you got Termish, you got Chondath, you got, all kinds of different regions to expand upon and play with. You've got so much resources that were out there, not so much in the way of they published modules for low levels, but they published adventure hooks, the Volos guides, all these other things all the guides to the north or whatnot. They have all your hooks for levels to start up into and go into greater adventuring.
That's right.
Yeah. But getting back to Sword of the Dales in specific, well, the thing about it is that, I mean, I like the adventures as a trilogy, and you know what? I'm going to put it in the show notes, so we can cover it in greater detail. But my whole thing is that it starts off great, the middle part's okay, but the ending kind of is disappointing. And that's just my personal opinion of it. Mm-hmm. It's not that the adventure itself is bad, it's what happens within the adventure that I have more than a little bit of a disagreement with. The object that everybody is fighting over, the party, the Zentarim, whoever else the DM wants to throw in there as, a power group, they're all fighting over this magical sword which is supposed to liberate the Dales. Right. And it just turns out to be this gigantic red herring. I think it's more because the author, who is, Jim Butler, the author basically wanted the Sword of the Dales to be a plot point and not something that the party could keep.
Right. Was this trilogy based on a novel series?
No, actually it wasn't.
Okay, I thought it was like the Avatar trilogy where they turned them into modules.
Wow. One thing that they didn't make a novel trilogy out of in the Realms?
Yeah, how about that?
Or vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah. But, another good tried and true thing if you're on the hunt for Forgotten Realms modules is my standby tried and true, which is take any other module and convert it.
Yeah.
Bootleg it. I've got X1 in the Realms. I've got B1 in the Realms. I've got X3 in the Realms.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. See, with all the material for the Realms, and yeah, we are going to probably do one, if not two, Forgotten Realms-based shows in the very near future. The thing about the Realms is, as much material as there is, and I'm looking at the next to last level in my bookcase, and it's all Forgotten Realms box sets. And for all the material they have, there is more than enough blank canvas in various regions for a DM to put in whatever he wants.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. But,
you want the S series? Run Slave Lords. You want the U series? Go to Salt Marsh.
Yep. Yeah, you want to actually do G1 through 3, D1, 2, and Q1? You can do that. As a matter of fact, it's probably even, aside from Greyhawk, it's probably even better suited towards the Realms because of all the material they've put forth for the Drow.
And for the Night Below conversion, I put mine south of the sea between Hardcastle and Torch on the road there, right in the middle of nowhere, just northwest of the Great Rift.
Yep.
Perfect fit.
But getting once again back to the trilogy, we will cover it in depth in future episodes. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of these things where I just disagree with how the whole trilogy wound up.
I understand. Do we have we have another email, right?
Yes, we have one more. This is from a constant contributor to our show, our friend Ian Clark.
Yes.
Okay, he said, "Hey guys, thanks for answering my question a few shows back and for mentioning our podcast, The Nerd Herders. I had another quick question for you. We played a couple of sessions of our Shadowdale campaign, Staying in the Realms, and the guys are complaining about how much XP I give out, saying it's too little. I doubt many players complain about too much XP. No, they don't.
Never.
I've had it happen.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do you guys have a guideline for how much to give out? Do you follow the monster killing XP to the letter or expand it? What about for non-combat encounters and general role-playing? do you try and have a ballpark XP figure for a night of gaming? In other words, if you play for 5 hours and the story advances, do you have an XP number that you would shoot for? Thanks again for the great work.
I tend to be ad hoc. I mean, I look at what I'm running and I look at the encounters and I kind of get a ballpark figure in my head and may even write it down, but I'm kind of ad hoc on that. Like, okay, you guys, everybody takes 750 out of petty cash. You take an extra 100 because you did that clever thing with the rope, and you take an extra 100 for that thing with the orc. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. With me, I mean, you guys have kind of gotten an idea of what I do. I put the onus on a player that I deem trustworthy. Yes, and I'm looking right at you, full on.
Who, where?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when it comes to monster encounters, I keep track of every experience point. As we've talked about before, when the players reach a point of relative safety, I'll give them the XP that they've earned, you know, and I'll just do the math at the end of the session, give everybody their experience points, any bonuses for role playing, any bonuses for good ideas. If they achieved a story award, the party gets that as a whole, and that's evenly divided up and things like that. When I'm playing, I don't really even think about, well, I'll give out only this much XP. You know, the party, if they run into what they run into and they get a lot of XP for it and, you know, for overcoming it, whatever it might be, it's perfectly fine with me. I don't care.
I do like modules that give you, like, sample XP at the end of the module where you can kind of go, okay, I got kind of a base here.
Oh, like the Book of Lairs?
Yeah, I got a base here, and I can, like, adjust it in either way.
Mm-hmm.
I lean kind of in the middle a bit. What I've got is, what I have been using the most is the experience tracker sheet, which is posted on the forums, in the library, in the, let's see...
OSRgaming.org.
TSR WotC, Paizo Games files, 2nd edition D&D files. It's actually good for first or second. I call it XP file. It's been downloaded 51 times and viewed 171.
Yay.
But it covers how I track XP, and it's editable, so you can make it however you want. But I do a lot of the XP for damage you did, damage you took, criticals you did, criticals you took, fumbles you did, fumbles you took, spells you cast, thief skills you used, special, neat, and useful things you did, spells cast, all that. And I like to lean in places where if there's a story element that's of import, it may have an XP value in and of itself if it's accomplished for the whole. Plus, that way, the players are tracking the XP they earn as far as nitty-gritty combat fighting. All I got to do is turn over the XP for combats for the monsters themselves and or the encounters so that the bookkeeping is kept to a minimum.
Right.
Understood.
That makes sense.
Well, I hope...
You know... Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to wrap up. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, the only issue I have with a set amount of XP is that it's rather obvious, or at least to someone who's been playing as long as you have, it's kind of obvious that you're, you know, putting a choke on it, you know? Mm-hmm. And my whole thing is that if we're out there and we're in, let's say, we're going through Keep on the Borderlands, and we, you know, just tear that module apart from beginning to end, you know, everything that stood before us is now feeding the scavengers and so forth, you know, and that's how I want that accomplishment for my player who lived through all that.
Right.
Instead of,
I also like the fact that I want to make sure that the people who are getting involved in the game are getting rewarded for getting involved in the game. If you do stuff, if you take risks, even if you get hurt, you get out of it the XP you should earn from it, as opposed to, here's a blanket round number for everybody for what you did for the night. Oh yeah, I know you carried the entire event on your shoulders for the last 4 hours, but you're all going to get the same amount of XP. Here's your token bonus, and everyone else gets their flat amount. You know, if you have special abilities, flex those special abilities and earn something for using them.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
I still ad hoc it.
Hey, you know, whatever works for you.
I can bend that way if I want. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And anyway, I don't want to talk about bending. No. But thank you for the email. And you can write us, you folks can write us too at thacoshammer@gmail.com. And we got a voicemail, I understand.
Yep. The number is 405-806-0555.
Or you can contact us on d20radio.com, osrgaming.org, flintdragonsfoot.org, purpleworm.org. We've got, what is it, Thacos Hammer?
Nuckinland, Strolling Citadel, Piazza.
Planet AD&D.
Yep.
Even Circus Maximus.
Yeah.
I float around there a lot. All sorts of places.
Smoke signals, kobolds carrying messages in bottles.
There we go. Put the kobold in the bottle, send him on down to sea, out to sea. So let us go into It's in the Book.
You ever go to school, stupid?
Yeah, and I come out the same way.
Is that your idea of an idea?
It's in the book.
It's in the book. Balancing action and role-playing. Is it a juggling act? Well, yeah. I mean, that's your job, isn't it, as a DM?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's probably job one when it comes down to it.
It's called maintaining the pace.
Yeah, keeping things going. Exactly.
And it's not unique to that either. I mean,
I won't even say that it's maintaining the pace, because you can have boring combat and you can have high intensity RP.
Yep.
It's making the most of either when they happen appropriately.
Right. Right. But I'm saying you're constantly adjusting.
Yeah. My whole thing is when it comes to games, I want to keep it as close to 50-50 as possible. Now, of course, I will modify that ratio depending on the kind of players I have. Let's use the AP podcast as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn, you and Full On are really good role players, but you're also playing fighters, both of you.
Right.
And
yes, we're going to have lots of fun with that, I know.
Mm-hmm. I got some ideas for you, Mr. Heartcleaver. So anyway, but my whole thing is that I will take the players, first and just either ask them or even during the course of a couple of sessions kind of, make mental notes about, okay, this person likes role-playing more, this person is a role-playing junkie and doesn't even care to pick up a die and will only do so begrudgingly, and this guy over here just wants to kill stuff because, he's, that's the way he, keeps his yeah, exactly. Keeps his psychopathic tendencies to a bare minimum. And so when I take all that, I just mix it all together and I'm like, okay, let's just keep this ratio about, say, 60-40. And the juggling act comes up when you're trying to give your players, at least, let them feel useful instead of just sitting there drumming their fingers or idling rolling dice or sketching or, God forbid, messing around with their cell phone, which would not be tolerated if I'm at my table. That's
I sketch whether or not I'm in the heat of battle or not. So,
but it's just out of sheer
force. My inveterate doodler, so all of her character sheets, maps, and note sheets are just scrawled all over with drawing. So it depends on the people.
Yeah, it certainly does, and that's why I put this topic out there, because it's not just the game itself, but it's also the game as you decide to tailor it for the players that are involved.
Yes, and as long as you can keep them engaged, okay, you've got your action, whether it's a chase scene or some obstacle to be negotiated, scaling the mighty cliff walls or whatnot, or a big fight in the dirty tunnels with the ants, or the role playing, and don't forget to role play while you fight.
Yeah.
Which I do.
Yeah.
And don't necessarily always let fighting get into your role play. And we kill the king.
Yeah, exactly.
Oops. Of everyone.
But, I mean, at least as far as I'm concerned, it's one of these things where, I remember one gaming session I had, I think, like 6 friends over, and it was my roommate and a bunch of our mutual friends, and I had that going on. But there was one player who was so far geared towards the RP side of things that And when it came, of course, when, they're all in town, they're doing their various things, she wanted me to take like half an hour of game time with her just to role play out what she was doing. Oh. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I've got 5 other people sitting here. I have to keep moving from person to person, playing RP tag. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a one-on-one.
No, it's not. And, that's another thing.
But my
that
thief
we'll
has
get
to
into
go off
next
in quietly and separate with, not with the rest of the party, and go negotiate with the Thieves Guild my introduction so I don't get all of us killed for being in town and share my cut. And try to level up and assassinate the guildmaster and take over. What?
In my old champion / AD&D group, had a guy famous for that, wanting to go off. If we were in a city, wanting to go off and do his little thievy things, while everybody else is trying to concentrate on the map they have to study for the journey or doing the. It wasn't like, oh, you guys are going out to buy supplies and stuff. No, we were doing something, and he has to go off and is doing his thievy things. And you know what? He would do that just to be contrary. It had nothing to do with role playing and stuff. He just wanted you to pay attention to him.
Yep.
And it's not always the thief. Sometimes it's the paladin or the priest or the wizard.
Yeah, I know, but he just happened.
Most of the time it's the thief, though.
Yeah, but he played thieves a lot, so that's why I'm saying. Like we tried out basic Marvel superheroes. We played the scenario that was in there, which deals with basically it's Dr. Octopus deal with Captain America, Spider-Man, the Thing, and I think Captain Marvel. And he played Spider-Man. And so the first scenario, the bad guys get away, we stop the thing. So, no, he has to throw a spider tracker on there and go chase after them.
Yeah. Just
the point of throwing a spider tracker on them is so that you don't have to chase them right now.
Right.
You can find them later.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't get that, though. He just wanted to go away from the group.
Yeah, and, those kind of players just make me want to tear the hair out of my head all the time. Because it's like, at this point, it's like, look, you are, as much as you want to be Wolverine, as much as you want to be Lobo, as much as you want to be Spider-Man,
the man with no name, I got
the man with no name, another good example.
Spider-Man has an associate card for the Avengers. Occasionally he works with people.
But, the only problem is Marvel always tease them joining the Avengers or the Fantastic Four, but I digress. But just because you want to be the solo guy, the guy who gets, just gets stuff done and does it his way and, always thumbs his nose at, the way things should be done, doesn't mean that you can get away with it at the table. You've got other people there. And it's not all about you. It's as much about your fellow players as it is about you. And you just have to wait your turn in order to, get your little time in the spotlight.
And if you're a role-playing junkie, I'm sorry. Action has to happen because these other people are expecting it.
Exactly. And I don't mind a session where it's like 1 or 2 hours of role-playing if the role-playing is that good.
Right.
I have no problem with that whatsoever, but when, the person wants to, let's just say it's a novice party going out for the first time and there's one who wants to haggle over a belt buckle and things like that. And then when you look at him cross-eyed, he's like, what? I'm just playing my character. It's like, no, you're not.
No. 6 for that, you must be mad.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just like, no. I don't work it that way.
I have an example from one of my groups, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's champions. But you're right. It's got to be a balance, and you got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Scale, not a balance. You're going to either end, and you're switching back and forth. You get a little bit, you dip. You get a little bit, you dip. You keep moving around. You can't be expected to keep it perfectly balanced because there are appeal to both sides of it.
You got to be like Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sing like the bee, bob weave, do the rope-a-dope.
Yep, rope-a-dope, exactly.
Yeah, and this is not exclusive to DMs. This happens with writers, screenwriters, playwrights, anybody in that kind of dramatic situation. They have to maintain the pace too. Directors have to maintain the pace and vary the pace as it's needed, and boy, will it be needed in a game.
Yeah, at times, yes. Agreed.
things get bogged down, got to shake them out of it.
Yep. Things are going too fast, and people are starting to drop like flies. Okay,
Slow it down.
Go down a gear. Yeah.
Yeah, that's called maintaining the pace.
Oh, that's part of your job as a DM for sure.
Yeah. Watch a good action movie sometime. Watch Indiana Jones. He knows how to pick up the pace and slow it down when it's needed.
Yeah, and also pull out his gun and shoot a guy in the head who's wielding a great scimitar.
Yeah, but you get the point. I mean, watch a good director like that. They know how to vary the pace, and that's what you should be doing with your players to keep everybody interested.
Yeah, keep them interested, keep them engaged, and then the game just takes on a life of its own from that point. Mm-hmm. It is about teamwork, not just the players with the other players, but the players with their DM, and vice versa.
And again, you can get some of that involved by encouraging even the combat players, the action players, to get into their roles while they're engaged in that action and combat to help mollify the role play, Lord of the Dance over in the corner, so that they want to actually get involved as well.
Right.
And make sure that person is also engaged in, when they're doing the more low-key stuff, actually working to progress the story, working to progress the adventure, not just grandstanding on how much they're going to, shop around for.
Yeah, because in that sense you are a director. Yeah. You're directing action, you're directing players, you're directing the game. And believe me, you do this often enough and long enough, the game will pace itself.
Right. And all you have to do is just keep, just make sure.
And with the players helping. The players have a stake in this too.
Yeah, they got a vote.
Yeah.
Absolutely they do.
It's just that the DM has 3 votes. Or however many players are in the game. He has the equal number of votes.
Are you leaving the town yet? No, we still have things to do. Okay. There is smoke on the horizon from the advancing horde.
I still have to buy some healing potions.
Yeah, exactly.
Price has just gone up 10 times because everyone else saw the smoke on the horizon from the advancing horde.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
I have to get the best price possible because that's what my character would do. God. Anyway.
Your character's going to be thrown to the orcs.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be pitched over the wall as a sacrifice to the orcs. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, how would you guys do it? Tell us about it. thacoshammer@gmail.com. Yes, sirree. And now we are just going to waltz over to Rule 0.
Yes, sir.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. PC alignment part 2. How do you run it? I let everybody do whatever they want. No.
God, you must have some crazy ass games sometimes.
Yeah, I wish.
And hey, Gamer Nation, this is us taking up part 2 of the PC and alignment discussion, which we discussed in an earlier show, not directly related to the listener response that you can now find on the forums talking about the first half of our show.
That's
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, at it, guys. Go at it.
I'm going to make an apology to the person who wrote it, but your email, as well reasoned as it was way too long. We are now about 40 plus minutes into this podcast. We would still be talking about it.
Yeah, next week when we do the next show, we would still be talking about it.
I mean, you just gave us too much. So
anyway, we wanted to put it up there so people could actually read it.
Yes, exactly.
And we'll get to the long-winded responses on the forums. Look for us there.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, let's move forward.
Yeah, we will be responding to that. I'm fairly certain of it because there are certain things I want to talk about. But anyway, as a DM, I'm not in the if you choose your alignment, you play it and don't deviate from it or else kind of DM. I'm not, as much as I may sound like it at times. But my whole thing is that there had better, if your character is going to go against what he's been for argument's sake, 7 levels, and he's just been, pretty well ensconced in that alignment, for him to make a radical change there better be a damn good reason.
It's called being out of character.
Yeah, well, sometimes, but the circumstances dictate that,
Yes, if he's mind controlled, I understand that, yeah.
Not even that. Sometimes circumstances drive you to make that moral choice that you're going to have to go against your convictions to continue.
Yeah.
Like
or
blackmail.
something.
Like blackmail.
Yeah.
Or Night Below, as we talked about last session, or last episode.
That's right.
But, with me, my whole thing is now, there are just some players who start off with this wonderful character concept, and for whatever reason, it could be legitimate, or it could just them being an idiot, but they want to completely change the way their character is. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, explain to me why. First thing, if he comes up with a crappy explanation, or he's just tired of playing that character or whatever, it's like, well, too bad. If you want to run something else, then let's talk. But if you just want to change your character radically for no reason other than you, the player, wants to just, play
something else.
Yeah, something else, or play him a completely different way, I'm not going to just allow that.
See, that's my answer too. Because it's like, dude, why do you want to go through all this trouble of changing your character's personality when you just pick up a blank character sheet, sit down with some dice, and we make you a new character?
Yeah.
Oh, but there's so many interesting ways that you can make it happen in-game, even rapidly radical, directly ones. Like, you would like to be neutral? Go get yourself infected by a werebear. We'll make you neutral. You would like to change your alignment drastically to the opposite side? There's helms of opposite alignment. Go on a quest and find one and voluntarily put it on. You can draw from the deck of many things. Your alignment has been judged. Change alignment now, or face judgment. And say, yeah, I'll take the change. Boink.
Yeah.
Boom, it changed.
But those are mostly circumstantial.
Or voluntarily accept the consequences of a large to medium alignment change with the XP penalties and whatnot to go with it. If you want to, my character has become bitter and reviled because of the things that we've had to do, and I'm changing my alignment. Okay, there's a legitimate roleplay reason where your values grotesquely shifted. We can work with that.
Right. But I was talking about the guy who just wants to play just because he's bored or something.
That's just too bad. I just won't allow.
Go make another character.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? And usually I'll in such circumstances I'll go against my rule of when somebody wants to bring a new character into an established campaign, like 3 levels lower or whatever, I'll make him start it first.
Oh.
Because I'm just like, you know what? You're having a bad day. Your wife is mad at you. Your boss is on your butt because you're not doing your job, or maybe even you're doing your job or whatever, and you want to take it out on me in my game? I don't think so, Tim.
Right.
So, yeah, if you want to change your character, fine. You just won't be advancing anytime soon.
That's right.
But, if you want to do that just because you're mad at the world and you want to take it out on the game that you're playing,
I don't think so.
No, not happening. Not happening.
Not happening on my table.
Enough negativity. How about just the rest of the way, people? How do you, as a DM, deal with the ways that people are using their alignments? We've talked about how, as a player, we perceive the alignment. How does the DM manage and perceive and referee the interactions of alignments for the PCs and how they interact with each other and the world?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
With me, it's like, I'm watching. Let's take my AP podcast again as an example. I'm watching you specifically, Vaughn, because you're playing a lawful good half-orc, which to me is like one hell of a role-playing challenge. But he's doing such a good job that I'm like, okay, that's cool. Glenn, you're playing, I think, a chaotic good dwarf. I think so. I think he's chaotic good. Is he?
I got the sheet.
He's either chaotic good or neutral good. That much.
Yeah, something like that. He's some flavor of good.
Yeah, but it's against type from most sports, and I'm sort of watching that a little bit. I mean, Allie, I've played with since I met her in the gaming table in 1996. That's 17 years ago now, or 16 years ago now, and I know how she's going to play her character because I've run it with her.
Caracas smelt is chaotic good.
I thought so. And so I'm like, okay, this guy's playing against type, that guy's playing kind of against type. Well, full on, you're playing way against type, which I like. But I'm sort of like, okay, as a DM, taking my friendship with the two of you and setting it aside for a minute, it's like, okay, I'm going to keep a little bit of an eye because I've never played with either one of you. So I'm just sort of watching it and seeing how you're doing it. So far, you're both doing great. Corey is another one that I've kind of got to watch because, he's got this major league kick-ass martial artist that's going to be coming in.
Oh boy!
Once we work him into the adventure, and I got to watch how he plays it. And it's like I said, it's not even something that I enforce unless somebody does something completely out of character without good reason.
Right. Okay, I understand. Yeah. Enough said on my part.
Oh, come on! You've got to have some comments.
Come on, Glenn. Come on, give it to us. We're big boys. We can.
You agreed it was a good question. Answer it.
What was the question again?
Oh God! Stop it.
No, I rarely keep an eye on somebody's alignment unless they really try to pull a major like game screw.
Right.
On me. And then it's like, even if he's the right alignment for it, I'll say no. If I think it, yeah. I'm sorry, I tend to go rant off about these guys who try and ruin games, and I think alignment is like a major tool for that, for them.
Yeah. So I totally agree. We talked about it last time.
Yeah, but on the whole, I don't really watch alignments. I leave it up to the player, and for the most part, my players have played their alignments because I've got kind of a squishy alignment idea where it's like, once again, it's a guideline. Thank you.
It's like the Pirates Code, Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a guideline. It's not rules.
Right. Yeah. Except in certain special cases, like the Paladin, sometimes it is hard and fast. But for the most part, no. You got a lot of play.
Yeah. You do have wiggle room.
Yeah.
Even as a paladin, because as we've discussed previously, a lot of players decide to play paladins like these, death before dishonor, retreat is not an option kind of players. And it's like, look, no, a paladin can play smart. I mean, I was just reading, last week, I was reading the Forgotten Realms comic where one of the main characters is a paladin who is a recovering alcoholic.
Okay.
And he has to, every once in a while, he's got to really seriously either check himself or his friends will check him if he's going a little too far afield.
Well, the way I do things is I really try to keep track of, really egregious offenses, of course, but I try to nudge in the direction if someone is going to start going astray. I really hope that players will be looking out for each other. There are times where the party has decided to have a couple of extra little missions going on and send folks out to perhaps go do a perimeter sweep or go get water from the river so that the paladin isn't there to object to what they're about to do.
Good idea.
And sometimes the paladin picks up on that and sends someone else down to the river so that he can sit on the, captive and make sure no one does anything interesting to him. But again, that's party dynamics and stuff like that as they work with each other, dealing with their own moral choices and their lines that they draw for themselves.
Right.
But I'll let people have their wiggle room unless they're not allowed wiggle room, and even then we define the shades of gray that they can work a bound thin.
Right.
And if they start taking too many tick marks, I'll give them the hairy walleye and say, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure your character wants to do that? Those are two separate questions when you ask a player.
Okay, now I'm going to deal mainly with good alignments here and neutral alignments because I don't really allow evil in my games.
I usually don't either. There's only, in my experience, there's only been one player that I've ever allowed to play an evil alignment in my game, and he played lawful evil so good that, I just let him do it.
Okay, say you're dealing with some kind of form of good or neutrality in your game. Take Han Solo, for example, and this extends to all the players. You have a little something called a conscience.
Yep.
That will affect you to a greater or lesser degree. Right. That's the thing that keeps you more or less on alignment. Even if you have to do something that's totally alien to your alignment, your conscience is going to bother you.
And darn it if Jiminy Cricket won't rear up and smack you in the head with his umbrella if you don't.
That's right. That's right. So just think of it that way. Think of alignments as depending on how much conscience you have. Mm-hmm. You want to do the right thing, whether, if you don't, well, then you're evil. Or neutral, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying anyway.
Right. No, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, Han Solo, he had a conscience. He wanted to be Mr. I don't care, but his conscience got to him. Usually it was sitting in the co-pilot seat. But
Chewie was his conscience, without a doubt.
Pretty much.
Without a doubt. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. But
what are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
Laugh it up, furball. Anyway.
I love it. My favorite scene in Empire Strikes Back.
Anyway, alignments. Talk to us about it. thacoshammer@gmail.com and the other places. Yeah, hubba. So, we've got some magic fingers to inflict you with.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Magic Fingers. Player's Handbook. First printing page number 161. Polymorph Other and Polymorph Self.
Or your handy Volume 3 Wizard Spell Compendium, page 672, 673, and 674.
I believe we have various polymorph flavors in that book.
Oh, yes. Polymorph any object, polymorph other, and polymorph self.
Well, let's take the basics first. Polymorph self and polymorph other are both 4th level spells, wizard spells. And they do have, polymorph other has verbal, semantic, and material, but polymorph self just has a verbal component.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. I want to have the form of a bat.
Oh, God. Form of water.
Yeah.
Polymorph other, and both of them have a casting time of 4, and saving throw negates on polymorph other. Polymorph other has 5 yards per level. Wow.
Yeah. It's a fairly strong... It can be a fairly strong spell.
Now, and that's not even getting into the Dragon Magazine polymorph that you get from your hags and your witches.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are the curse. Polymorph curse is different than polymorph spell.
I just want to digress a little here. Funny, this type, not even the spell, this type of thing has been a problem in role-playing games other than D&D. If you go over to the Atomic Think Tank for Mutants and Masterminds, there's all sorts of discussions on how this kind of thing works in the superhero genre and how it's too powerful or how it should be nerfed or how it, how do you do this, how do you do that. So this is almost like a universal thing for role-playing games.
I can't give Dr. Octopus a bad day.
So changing one thing to another is a real problem in a lot of games, and this is no exception.
Well, it's not that much of a problem. It's just one of those things where first thing that has to happen if you're polymorphing somebody else is that if they make their saving throw or not. If they blow it, of course, they're going to change into whatever you decide to change them into.
Right.
Oh,
And then they have to make a system shock check to make sure that they survive it.
Yeah.
And after that, then they have to make an intelligence check to see if it retains its personality.
Or intelligence.
Yeah. Its personality, intelligence, whatever. Yes.
Yeah. Now, the thing that gets... the polymorph spells, to me, are a textbook example of one of the kind of drawbacks of leveling class games.
How so?
Where you have to, unlike something like Champions or something, we're dealing with effects. With spells, it's one of those spells where you have to specifically... You've got like half a page on just polymorph other, because over the years they had to specifically narrow down exactly what this does.
Yeah, I agree.
Because people would either they would be bombarded in Dragon with letters, or they would have people say, well, in my game, this guy took polymorph other and did this, and
natural shapeshifters, lycanthropes, doppelgangers, higher level druids, etc. are affected but for one round and can then resume their normal form.
Exactly, because they had to keep getting more and more specific, and to me it's like, oh man, tear my hair out time. How am I going to police this?
Well, I love polymorphing trolls into rabbits. And then the party wonders why they can't kill the 9-hit die rabbit.
That's great.
But that, to me, that is a drawback to this kind of game, because you have to plug up the loopholes as you find them.
Oh yeah, because it's one of those spells that before they started plugging the loopholes, there were too many of them. Any player with any sort of, let's just say, mean streak or just craziness in general, and they have something on the ball in the intelligence department, they can figure out, okay, I can use this spell like this, and if it works like that, then you have no defense against it or whatever. So yeah, they had to make sure to. I'm not going to go so far to say they nerfed it, but they had to
account for things.
Yeah, they had
to account for things.
I keep thinking, this keeps reminding me of that early Simpsons episode where we went to church and Bart was in Sunday school, and he kept hitting the teacher about questions about God. The classic, can God make a rock so heavy that he can't lift it? And my favorite one was, yes, the ventriloquist will go to heaven, but the dummy won't. And that's what this spell reminds me of. Mm-hmm. Well, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I polymorph my dog?
Turn him into a goldfish? Why, certainly. Good.
If I polymorph my dog into a fire hydrant, can he pee on himself? That kind of thing.
Oh God, yeah, and at that point, it's like, look, you're just being a douche. Shut up.
Yeah, anyway, it's almost as bad as a wish. Almost.
No. I have to disagree completely. I mean, they have put in too many safeguards to the spell now, where unless you're dealing with somebody with genius level intelligence who can still find a loophole somewhere, as big as an eye of a needle, then that's not most players. That's why it takes a page and a half to say you can do this.
There's a big difference between I cast polymorph other to turn you into a leopard, or I say I wish you had the form of a leopard, or I wish you take the shape of a leopard, which means I apply the shape change spell to you instead. Mm-hmm. They're all 3 different elements, 3 different effects, and 3 different rules to run by.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, then let's just take polymorph self.
Okay.
A devious player will figure out a way to use this way to his advantage, which means you have descriptions like, furthermore, the wizard gains its physical mode of locomotion and breathing as well of the form. No system shock roll is required, does not give the new forms other abilities, nor does it run the risk of changing personality and mentally. The caster's equipment, if any, melds into the new form. I'm sure there's people who wondered about that.
And it does say, In particularly challenging campaigns, the DM may allow protective devices, such as the Ring of Protection, to continue operating effectively.
Right.
May.
Yep.
May.
Doesn't mean you have to. It's DM's call.
And it's, it has exceptions, like if you turn yourself into an owl, you could fly, but you wouldn't have its sight.
Correct.
You have human sight, or an eagle, or something like that.
Right.
But these are the little,
It's not all bells and whistles. It's not all happy joy. A caster not used to a new form might be penalized at the DM's option. For example, -2 penalty to attack rolls until they practice sufficiently to master it. Correct. It's just like that Disney movie with, Sword in the Stone.
Right.
When he was turning him into a bird and he didn't know how to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a fish and he almost got eaten. Yep. Understood. You guys got any polymorph stories? I'm just curious.
Oh, yes, I do.
Tell us.
I haven't used, to be honest, I haven't had a player to use this spell in a very long time.
Tell us.
Even so, go ahead.
No.
Let's go on. Talk.
Well, one is I used, as a backstory element, Polymorph Other to create an encounter called Droblins. Have you heard me talk of Droblins before?
No.
Well, look at it this way. A long time ago, deep in the Underdark, there was a drow house having a war with another drow house, and they wanted some expendable fighters. Even more expendable than they usually assume their males to be.
Uh-huh.
So they went and got a bunch of their goblin slaves and polymorphed them into drow.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
And set forth to go have their great and wonderful house battle, and those drow got lost in the shuffle and ended up wandering around out in the Underdark somewhere, and wandered through one of those nasty, nasty anti-magic zones. Now, of course, by this time, these drow polymorphed goblins have already failed their saving throws and system shocks and really think they're drow.
Yeah.
And now they're goblins who think they're drow. So they have painted themselves black. They have dyed their hair white. They keep enslaving or making mounts out of underdark giant spiders, and come swooping down trying to fight 2-weapon style on party members.
Oh, that's
not doing
well, but they try to do it really good.
Yeah, because even though they have the shape of drow, they're still one -1 hit die creatures.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, depending on how long they survived in the Underdark, But again, that's neither here nor there. But that's how you get an interesting creature out of just that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Droblins, I love it. I'm going to steal that at some point. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing is that through the years, since I think these spells have been in the D&D lexicon since the Brown books. I'm not 100% certain about that.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you. I don't have the Brown books.
At the very least, the Mulvey rules. Let's go that way.
And if nothing else, there's always been traps or something that will polymorph you, or curses that will polymorph you. Or
yeah.
Hey, it's in there. It's got to be in the Mulvey rules because I've got, polymorph is a saving throw.
I am damn sure it's in the RC.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's in the Mulvey rules. I remember it.
Yeah.
But even going back that far, the problem is that back in those days, they had
creative yet.
Yeah, exactly. Once D&D got really popular, well, at least as popular as it got, but when it got popular, you had more players playing it, more often than not, high school kids, college students, that level of people, and if anything, those kind of kids, they knew, they were always trying to figure out ways to get around things.
Right.
Batman. Hey, polymorph other, you're now a bat.
Yeah, exactly. So through the years, they had to, as more things, as like Full-On said, there were more complaints to like Dragon Magazine about, oh, my players did this, what am I supposed to do, and things like that, instead of just saying, look, it's my game, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
But, they would just, so they just built in more and more safeguards, let's say. I still can't say they nerfed the spell because it still works very well, but they had to make sure that, okay, when you're polymorphed into this, you can do this, but you can't do that.
This is the kind of spell you want to run past a lawyer.
I think they did.
You also definitely want to make sure you're choosing wisely whether you are, as the wizard, going to man up and volunteer your skin in the game and be the person polymorphed by using the much more reliable polymorph self, or if you're going to try to go for convenience and say, hey, Bart the henchman, the hireling with the torch, come here for a second. We need your help to make sure we don't get slaughtered by that army of orcs over the hill. So I'm going to polymorph you into a dragon just for like 5 minutes. You can scare them away.
Yeah.
I've been in games that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have
no doubt about it.
Save as a zero-level commoner.
Yeah. And what's their save versus polymorph? If I'm not mistaken, it's like 18.
Yep.
There's a 10% chance it'll work.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's like half dragon, half human, and all dead.
That's the point. That's the point where you want to make sure your party has an illusionist. The hell with that. Just throw an illusion of a dragon up there, okay?
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Had that happen in Crispy's BX game. That was
Hey, you guys want me to put a dragon out there? I'll put a dragon out there for you, but you know you're going to have to owe me for that, because those are very expensive material components, all right?
Okay, all right. Just to scare the orcs off, all right?
Yeah, we'll discuss payment later.
Yeah, we've had...
Don't look down at me when you say that.
Well, the polymorph spell's awful fun. You guys can tell us about it. thacoshammer@gmail.com and the number
405-806-0555.
Bully for you. And now, finally, DM's rag.
Well, that's quite a story.
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
And here it comes, right over the old plate.
The DM's rag. DM's rag. Now, Brian, you're on this. Deck of Encounters, sets 1 and 2. I've never owned a set of these.
Oh, yeah. I've had these since they first came out in 1994.
Huh.
You know, set 1 came out in 94. Set 2 was also in 94. I think it was later in the year.
Right.
But this was something that I used a lot in solo games more than actual 4+ players and a DM kind of thing.
Right.
But
so sitting in the dark playing with yourself, pulling from the deck.
Now, come on.
Is that what they call it now? Anyway.
Yeah.
He said solo play with the deck.
1 player, 1 DM, smart ass. 1 player, 1 DM, solo game.
Don't let him pull your deck. Anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, go on.
Wow. Yeah, but anyway, moving right along. The deck of encounters is just this wonderful little item. I think this is one of the better things that they came out with for second edition. Really? It's along the lines of the Book of Layers, the first edition books, but instead of it being a supplement with pages, it's a quick little encounter. The type of encounter it could be combat, it could be role playing, or anything in between.
How many cards are we talking about here?
Oh my goodness, I think like 256 or something like that.
Was that both sets or?
Huh? No, one per deck.
Wow.
Yeah. My friend DM Dan had that, and he was always carting that around and pulling from that as the ad hoc quick reference for the fill-in encounters other than the ones already in the adventures.
Wow.
Oh, I take that back, over 400 per deck.
Per set? Wow.
Yes. And it's like, and they're broken down by terrain, challenge level. I'm going to say that was actually put in before third edition by about 6 years, because it was like low for low level characters, medium for medium, high for high. You know how it goes. But the attribute that you would use in order to overcome the challenge, like if it was combat, it would be strength. If it was role playing or things like that, it'd be like intelligence or charisma.
Right.
And it would give the XP value to give to the players depending on which way they decide to overcome this challenge.
Right.
There's one I'm looking at right here in my hot little hands. It's called Paladin Trolls. It's Paladin Trolls.
Okay.
Now,
yeah.
Now, this is what happens. The PCs are just near a small village, and as they move past, then there's a pasture before it. And as they move past the pasture, they find 4 humans clutching bloody chunks of meat and fleeing from 2 huge trolls. The trolls shout for the humans to stop, but the humans grunt nothing intelligible at all. As the trolls spy the PCs, they call out, "Stop those trolls! In the name of goodness, stop those trolls!" Now, and what happened is that these 2 trolls are actually paladins that were polymorphed into trolls. And the trolls are polymorphed into humans. And so now the PCs have a bit of a dilemma. Now, when they see humans running from trolls, what's their first reaction? They're going to draw down and they're going to charge the trolls.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And, basically this was caused by a surge of wild magic. That's the explanation for it. And the paladin trolls are not going to stop until they catch the polymorphed humans.
Right.
So what ends up happening is the players have a dilemma. Do they help these trolls that speak way too clearly and way too eloquently for them to be true trolls, or do they just draw down and just hack at them?
Well, if they're going to say, stop those trolls, I know something's weird.
Yeah, exactly. That's your first hint. But, the whole thing is that it's a role-playing opportunity.
Right.
And if you happen to go along with them and coordinate with them and help them and chase down those humans with the bloody meaty parts, what happens, just in case, later on in the day, one of those paladin trolls blows their subsequent save? Which happens from time to time.
Now, see, that's an extension. You are an evil man, full on.
It's what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yeah.
I have another example. This one is another role-playing one. It's a high-level one. Any climate, any terrain, and you encounter a PC. And basically what it is that it's, you basically run into an ugly barbarian woman who wields 2 long swords. She develops an attraction for one of the male PCs, and preferably one who's not talented with weapons, so that usually means the party mage. So
that's my snoo.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly. And what ends up happening is this barbarian woman is a 16th level fighter with 138 hit points.
Wow.
With a pair of boots of speed. And she has a natural 18 double-aught strength. So you have a high-level fighter who has got a crush on the party mage who, more often than not, who knows, but, the mage may be just a freak like that, but that mage will be repulsed by her, because we're talking a charisma of 4, or something like that, just horribly ugly. And the thing is, now the party has to devise a way to let let Orga the Barbarian down easily without her just losing her mind and drawing her swords and hacking everyone to pieces.
Right.
You talk the mage into gathering material components. No, with her. I'm sure there's something you can get.
Oh, if you send... probably a pregnant 60-level barbarian at the end of it. But,
whatever.
Yeah, exactly, because, I can...
There are worse things for a mage to have protecting his tower.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's very true. But my whole thing is that this deck has just tons of different kinds of encounters. They're not all combat-oriented. Some of them are role-playing, some of them are moral choices, etc.
So this is your go-to?
No, I haven't used these in a very long time, to be honest, because I found that when it's a one-on-one game, a solo game, so to speak, one player, one DM.
Right.
But when it's like that, you can take an extra few minutes to go thumbing through the deck to find out, to find an encounter that's suitable.
So
you could just pick blindly.
Random draw?
Yeah, you could just close your eyes, look away, just turn your head, close your eyes, go in the deck and pick something out, and what happens, happens. You could do that too. But
wow, two troll tribes are having a gang war over who gets the rights to eat the trash corpse in the field.
You want to know something? There is one adventure in there that's something like that.
Wow.
Like I said, I've encountered these things before.
But when it's a bunch of players, like say 4 players or more, kind of slows things down a little too much. But usually because when I do random encounters, I'll do a D20, and of course with most charts, when you roll a natural 20, it's the DM's choice. I will have a set of encounters pre-picked just for that contingency.
Nice. Out of the deck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I do my own kind of deck of encounters kind of things. Like you've seen with the props that I put up for the Night Below, I make cards that I can print on my own, and if I have encounters that are suitable to the adventure that aren't part of the adventure core, I've got them in a stack on the side, ready to go if I need them, so I don't have to try and reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I went with this deck, I even went so far as to separate them as according to the terrain and the level of challenge that each encounter has. Oh yeah, I use 3x5 cards, and I would say, okay, these are for dungeon adventures low level. These are for desert adventures medium level, forest high level, and so forth. But yeah,
back in the days before people had the flip boulder, the 3-ring binder folders full of things, and it was the long square boxes. That's what these things were packed full of. If it wasn't full of baseball cards, it was full of the adventure cards, just like the magic item deck. And so on
and
so
I have that too.
You and DM Dan need to hang out together. You guys are minds of a feather.
Yeah, it's one of those things where not only is this deck good for random encounters, but if the players are, say, on a long journey somewhere, and you're just short of ideas, all you have to look at is the path they're going to be taking, the terrain, and their level, and you can just pick from what you can find from that. And that way you've got nice little micro, I won't even call it mini adventures, I'll call them micro adventures, where the party is subjected to something and they've got to deal with it somehow. And more often than not, it doesn't mean just by strength of arms.
Right.
So you're saying that Homer was a lazy DM?
You can infer that if you want to. I won't say that, but it could be inferred that way, sure.
Odyssey, Book 1.
Exactly.
Well, what did these go for in the day?
These went for, I believe, $20.
$20 per.
Yeah, list price. Yeah, $20. That, to me, that was worth it. Just for once you saw what they contained, it's like they could have charged $30 and it still would have been worth it.
Okay, I found one and only one, and it doesn't say whether it's the first or second deck or the whole thing. Brand new at an auction on eBay for $33.99.
That's pretty fair.
And that's also the buy it now price.
Oh, at $33.99?
Yeah.
What condition is it in, if I may ask?
It says brand
like new.
Brand new.
Amazon Deck of Encounters Set 2 new $30.
That's
Deck of Encounters Second Edition $59 new, $16.25 used.
Yeah, but that's actually
Deck of Encounters Set 1 $39 used. Amazon.
So you can get it for a reasonable price.
Yeah, I would say so. Those are fair prices, at least to me they are.
Yeah, that's no problem. Man, now I know. Oh man, I know what I'm going to be looking for next. And this was published in 1994.
Correct. I think the
second one, 95.
Really?
June 1994 for Set 2.
Really?
We've got another one tagged as March 1995. It's not specified whether it's Set 1 or Set 2.
It is
a different logo, so it's the second edition logo.
Yeah, it must
February 94 Set 1. Yeah, February 94 for Set 1, June 94 for Set 2.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, you were a little off, but, we're close.
Yeah, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, I've seen these.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, Glenn.
Okay, I'm so sorry I stopped. I mean, let's see, 90s. I was playing through. Yeah, I was kind of out of D&D at the time, so I didn't. Yeah, set $230 new. That's not bad, really. So go out there. They're out there. They may take a little work to find, but they're out there. Mm-hmm. Amazon, eBay, A-Books, Troll and Toad, Noble Knight. Noble Knight will probably have them.
Yeah, Noble Knight has them. Yeah. They've got. Yeah, they have. Actually, I take that back. No, they don't. They're sold out.
I'm not surprised.
That's even better.
Is it?
Yeah, because more people agree with what I'm saying.
Yeah, but less for me.
Oh,
anyway, that's true.
You could probably find it at half price.
Oh, yeah, someday. Anyway, tell us, if you have it, tell us all about it, thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Sure.
And about ready to close another Splat Book, guys.
Yes, indeed.
That is it. That is all.
That's a wrap.
And next week, next show, we may be doing an email show. So...
Okay. Well, if we can, well, you know what? To be honest, I'm going to try.
This is not asking for new emails, although we always want your emails. This is just us trying to get caught up on the emails we haven't answered yet.
That doesn't mean you don't have to send any. Go ahead.
But please do.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to, but if you want to, go ahead.
We'll do a second email show after that if we have to.
Oh, goodness gracious, Glenn.
Hey,
come on.
Got to do something, you know. And, say goodbye, Brian.
Until next time, folks, take care. And when your DM pulls out the deck of encounters, be afraid. Be very afraid.
Full on?
Enjoy your droblins. I know Brian is gonna have fun throwing them at you.
Oh. And I'm DM Glenn saying, I'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Goodbye, folks. Oh, droblins. Great.
Hey, it was a couple of, they had a phase spider, 2 steeders, and they initiated their ambush in a 50-foot high cavern area.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.